It's almost time to dust off those mowers and pull them out of your garden sheds. But before you do, there's a few things that you want to do and check them in order to make sure they're working properly. Joining us today is Dr. John Long, who is with the Biosystems and Ag Engineering Department here at OSU. Dr. Long, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what we need to do to our push mowers and our riding mowers to get them ready.
Sure, there's a lot of things we want to think about. Spring maintenance is an important task before we get into the busy mowing season to make sure that we're taking care of our mowers and making sure that they're good for the long haul. Some of the big things is just pull them out. First of all, there's probably going to be a lot of cleaning to do to start with after sitting in that shed for a long time. So we want to get everything cleaned off. Just look over the mower in general and make sure everything looks like it's in the same order it was when you put it up. Look for things that are, damaged, frayed cords, anything that we can think of that immediately just stands off. And then we kind of get into the process of actually looking at the mower itself and figuring out, what are the things we need to actually maintain or change or adjust. So the first thing we'll do is look at safety, right?
Okay.
So safety is something that we should always be in our mind anytime we're around any type of machinery. And so we should at least know about our mower, be familiar with it. If we don't have our owner's manual, definitely we want to make sure we find that. There's lots of good online resources to find those from the manufacturer.
So when we talk about safety, are we talking about removing the spark plug before we start anything, or?
Yeah, that's probably the first place we'd want to start, because the spark plug is the kind of soul of the engine, is what makes the thing run whenever it's running. And so if there's any residual gas in there and we try to start messing with the blade or anything, there's a chance we could possibly start the mower. So when we disconnect that spark plug, that kind of helps kill the mower, make sure nothing's going to happen. And so that's a good place where we should probably start when we start doing our maintenance.
Okay. And what are some of the other things? Do we need to check the spark plug too, obviously?
Yeah, so while we're there and we've got it disconnected, we'll look at the spark plug, make sure that the spark plug looks like it's the correct gap. We can use a tool to check the gap, and then look for any type of fouling on the plug, which means basically if you look at the end of the plug, it's going to look like it's worn out or there's black on the plug. We can clean that up with a wire brush or wire wheel, depending on what we have available. If it's really worn down, then we might have to look at replacing the plug completely.
Okay, but those should last more than 1 year usually?
Oh, they should last a long time, especially on a push mower that's only used seasonally.
Okay.
Much different than a car spark plug that's going to be used constantly, so yeah.
All right, well, what are some of the other things that we need to consider before we start up our mower?
So the thing we want to look at is, one, the gas tank that we have. We want to make sure that if we should have drained it in the fall, so if we didn't do our fall maintenance, that's okay. We can drain the gas tank now, make sure there's no debris in there, clean it out, blow it out with a little bit of air while it's disconnected, make sure it's clean, and then when we get done at the very end, we'll have it ready to put fresh gas in.
Okay. And also about the blades, that's the important thing, so we can get that crisp look, right?
That's right, that's where that actually occurs. We want to have good healthy grass, so we don't have tearing of the grass, we want to have a good sharp blade. And so we'll want to go ahead and remove our blade from our mower. We'll make sure we support it well and protect our hands while we're doing that, because the blades are still going to be sharp, even though if they've met a season's worth of grass, they're probably still getting a little bit dull. And then we want to make sure we sharpen that blade. Now the big thing with sharpening blades, that's kind of really the key here. We don't want to take too much material off, because they are balanced so that when they rotate and spin, they don't vibrate.
Right.
And so smaller amount taken off is better.
Okay. Is that something you would recommend for somebody to try at home, or probably leave it to the experts?
I would leave it to the experts if you don't feel comfortable. Anything with this mower maintenance or any type of machinery, if you don't feel comfortable with it, keep it safe, refer to the experts. And there are a lot of, small businesses and others that will take blades you've removed and help you sharpen them and return them back to you. So even if you don't haul the whole mower to them, you can at least take part of that.
Okay, and what about oil, filter, any of that other stuff we need to think about?
So on small push mowers, the push mower is not going to have a filter, but we usually want to change the oil. You might want to refer to your owner's manual. Some brand new mowers that have just recently hit the market have become no oil change mowers, where you just add oil. They consume oil a little bit at a time. But you want to most of the older mowers that you run into are going to be ones that you want to change the oil whenever it gets, usually seasonally is the best way to do that.
Okay. What about a riding mower? Is there more to that, obviously, I would imagine?
So a riding mower is a little more complicated. Some of the same things apply. We still want to have our blades nice and sharp, so we're going to have to remove those. It's going to be a little harder to get to them, and safety is another consideration with trying to get under the deck of a riding mower. It's something that could crush us more so than a push mower, so we have to be very careful about that. But everything else, spark plugs, the oil. The big thing with the riding mower is they usually have a larger engine that usually has an oil filter, much like your car or truck. So you might have to replace that while you're changing the oil also.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Long, for all of this information. Is there anything, before we go, is there anything we should do as far as maintenance monthly or as we're going into the season?
So as you're going in the season, as you are using the mower, just keeping an eye on it, make sure everything looks good. There's nothing, that's going wrong with the mower. You can just listen to it just like you listen to anything else, and it'll tell you when things are awry.
All right. Well, we'll be back so that we make sure to winterize it properly
That's right.
this fall. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.